We don't actually bring that much stuff with us. We have 5 carry-on bags, or no, 6, I'm sorry. There's 6 of us. Who was I forgetting? I don't know. We have 6 carry-on bags and 1 check bag. So that's our life. For 6 people, that's our life. So this all makes the list. Hey there, and welcome to the Digital Nomad Family Podcast. This is the place where families who have or want to have a nomadic lifestyle come together to talk about the highs and lows that this life brings. We celebrate the joys and support each other in the hard. So, if you are a digital nomad family or will be in the future, this is the place for you. We're glad you're here. Hey everyone, welcome to the Digital Nomad Family Podcast. I am your host, Marissa, and if this is your first episode listening, then welcome. I am excited to have you here, and we are actually in part 5 of a 6-part series with this episode. And what we've been doing is I've been trying to quickly talk about 5 of my favorite things in a specific category. So we've done my 5 favorite things personal edition, where I highlighted just some of my personal favorite stuff, not personal as far as like private, just personal being specific to me. We've talked about my 5 favorite apps. We've talked about my 5 favorite things clothing edition. We've done my 5 favorite things tech edition. That one was funny. So if you want to laugh, listen to that one because I know nothing about technology. So that was fun. And today in this episode, we are going to talk all things health and safety. And by all things, I mean my 5 favorite things, health and safety. Now, there are some things on this list that are very specific for our family, and I'll tell you why when we get to them. But I always like to just take a minute and mention that in this podcast, I'm going to be talking about stuff and sharing ideas and suggestions, but the important thing is to say, what works for my family? How can I use this idea and make it specific for what's happening in our lives? And so as you're listening, just think, maybe that's not something that's important to you, and that's okay. I don't want anyone to think that just because I make a list, I think if you don't travel with these things, you are not being safe or you're not taking your family's health into consideration. It's simply, these are the 5 things that I'm choosing to carry, and they make me feel better. They make me feel more secure in my house, or just like we're going to be a healthier family, and that's okay. If they don't make your 5, no worries. I think the important thing is that we're being intentional as we travel, right? We're not just throwing things willy-nilly in a bag, or we're not unintentionally forgetting something that could keep our family safer, and we just didn't think about it. And that's what all of this type of stuff is for. It's just to learn from each other and to connect with each other and to help each other be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. So with that being said, I would love it if you would connect with me and my family over on Instagram. We are called Family of Dashes, and there's a link in the show note. And the reason that I like connecting over there is because it's just real, and you get to see my family, you get to see me just living life and doing things, and we can get to know each other in a much more personal way than me just sitting here holding a microphone and imagining what you look like. So jump on over to Instagram and give us a follow, and that'll be fun. We can get to know each other better. And I always like to ask people that have been listening for a while, if you find value in this, please go over and leave a review on iTunes. It doesn't have to be a 5-star review. I want it to be an honest review. If you think that it's worthy of 5 stars, then I will totally take a 5-star review. But if you think that there's something that needs to be worked on, please let me know. I want this to be something that you enjoy listening to, and I only know that if you tell me. So if you could just take a couple minutes out of your day and just leave a rating and a review on iTunes, that would be great. And I do read those when I have new ones here on the podcast. So thank you for that. So with that being said, let's get to this 5 favorite things, health and safety edition. Now, number 1 is Ring cameras. And I think that it's important to note that my family, we are a family of 6, and we don't travel with a lot of stuff. So you might be thinking, Marissa, how in the world are you able to bring all this stuff? It's all small, and it all kind of sticks in the crevices and corners of the bags, okay? So I don't want you to think that we travel with a lot, because we really don't. Each of the kids have a carry-on size bag. I have a carry-on size bag. Eric has, that's my husband, he has a carry-on size bag for some airplanes. His is a little bit bigger, so some of the budget airplanes, it doesn't work, but we can usually make it work as long as we don't overpack. And then lots of times we always do one check bag. And the biggest reason for that is because it gives us the ability to just bring a little bit more. And it's kind of nice. When this is your lifestyle, maybe one day we'll whittle it down and get everything on some carry-on size bags. But for now, this is how we're living. So we don't actually bring that much stuff with us. We have 5 carry-on bags, or no, 6, I'm sorry. There's 6 of us. Who was I forgetting? I don't know. We have 6 carry-on bags and 1 check bag. So that's our life. For 6 people, that's our life. So this all makes the list. So like I said, number 1 is Ring cameras. And I really like to have these for a couple reasons. One, just if you are, the way that we have been traveling here in Peru, and that we'll probably travel in the future, is we have a home base in the country, but then we go on trips, like a week or a long weekend or something, to another place. And it's really nice to be able to just pull those up when you are on another trip in the country and see your house, make sure everything's good to go. And it just gives that peace of mind. I mean, all of our stuff is here. So making sure that it stays safe, to us, that's a priority. And so we travel with 3 Ring cameras. That might be overkill. I think we could get away with 2, if I'm being honest. So a couple Ring cameras. They're pretty small. We just wrap them up in like some shirts or something so they don't get busted. And we like them. They're good to go. It helps. Another reason I really like these is each new place you stay at has its own house noises. And I think you know what I mean by that. Like when you're laying in bed and you hear a noise, it takes you a while to get to know, like, oh, that is a normal noise for this house. So as you are getting to know the noises for the house, maybe this is just my anxiety, like showing. This is me, guys. You can pull up the app on your phone as you're laying in bed and just, keep an eye on like the living room or whatever, the kitchen, whatever room you have it in. Just keep an eye on it as you are in those first couple weeks, just learning the noises of the house. It does help me just feel better, that knowing I can pull it up really quick, see that everything's good to go, and then I can fall asleep. No worries. So Ring cameras are really nice. They have them where they're battery powered and they have the plug-in kind. We have the plug-in kind. I can see merit in doing the battery kind. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on that. I think the battery kind might be kind of nice. Because then it opens up the options of where you can place it. Just, keep an eye on your batteries. If you're going to go that route. So Ring cameras are number 1. Number 2, smoke detectors. We have stayed in 14 different Airbnbs in the past 2 years. And not a single one has had a smoke detector. Not a single one. And so when we went on our test trip, we didn't take smoke detectors. And as we were staying in all these different Airbnbs throughout Europe, we were just like, wow, this is not a thing that other countries do. It's just maybe I can't say other countries don't do it, but Airbnb doesn't seem to do it in other countries. And so we got smoke alarms. The ones that I have linked in the show notes, because all of this stuff is in the show notes. The ones I have linked are not the ones we have, but they're the ones I want. And the reason is you connect them together. So if one goes off, they all go off in your house. And I love that. Now, full disclosure, my parents had a house fire. I wasn't there. My little sister was, and my mom and dad were in the house. And thank God they got out okay. No one was injured, but the house was almost completely destroyed. It had to be majorly overhauled. And because of that, I do have a more heightened awareness, I guess, of the importance of smoke detectors in your house. And so for us, we travel with them. The ones we have are basically the same size as the ones that I have linked, but ours are just individual. So like they're not, if one goes off, the next one isn't going to go off. But I really want to get the ones that I have linked in the show notes because I love the idea of if one goes off, they all go off. That's the kind of smoke alarms we had at our houses in America. And so it's what I'm comfortable with. But we were in a major hurry when we were packing to come on this trip. And so I just ran to like Home Depot or somewhere and grabbed like super cheap smoke alarms, smoke detectors. So smoke detectors is number 2. Number 3, going from fire to water. And it's a water filter. Now this is where like the health part of health and safety come in. I guess the first 2 were kind of safety items, and this is a health item. A lot of countries, you don't want to drink the water just from the tap. Some countries you can. Like I've been in countries where I will, but then there are other countries where I won't, no matter how long I'm in the country. I've been in Peru now for almost 4 months, and I still don't drink the water straight from the tap. But at the same time, I don't want to keep buying bottled water for a lot of reasons. One, it's not good for the environment to keep buying plastic water bottles over and over and over again. And 2, there's 6 of us. And so buying water is I don't want to say it's a lot more expensive. It's not that expensive because in a lot of countries where we're not drinking the water, the locals aren't drinking the water either. And so it's very, very normal. Like even here in Peru, it's normal to not drink the water. Everyone buys water. It's just what you do. And so the water is actually really cheap. So it's not, I don't want to unintentionally give this message that we're saving a lot of money. We are not. We are not saving a lot of money by having a water filter. But it is better for the environment because we are limiting the amount of bottled water and we are saving a little bit. So we have 2 different water filter styles. They're both from the company called Sawyer. We are very brand loyal to Sawyer, but we have a Sawyer tap, which you put directly onto a sink. And we have a Sawyer squeeze, which is where you take the water, you put it in what's called a dirty bag. It just means the water isn't potable. And you attach the Sawyer squeeze to the end of that, and then you squeeze the water like bladder bag, and then when it comes out, it's clean. So we have both. We didn't bring our Sawyer squeeze on this trip, and I regret it. And here's why. The Sawyer tap fits almost every type of sink, almost. But it does not fit the sinks in our kitchen here. We have a sink upstairs because we have like a small like outdoor grilling area upstairs on our patio here, and it has a sink to just like wash some dishes off there. It does fit on that one. So if you're upstairs, you can get some water out of the sink up there, but it doesn't fit on the one down here. So I wish we would have brought the Sawyer squeeze and we have a CNOOK dirty bag and a CNOOK bag, because then I could just fill up the CNOOK bag in my sink, squeeze it into either like a plastic jug or something like that. Like we have like a big like iced tea jug here. I hope you know what I mean by that in your head, and just fill that up with clean water. Or just people could individually would just fill the CNOOK bag And then people can just squeeze it into their cup or something. So I regret not bringing our Sawyer squeeze on this trip. We will definitely bring it on. We're headed back to America for Christmas, and it's going to be something we get out of storage and bring with us next time because I wish we had it. And you really do want to be careful as you are traveling, because you can get pretty sick from drinking the water in various places. Now, it's not super common, and I'm not a doctor, so please don't take anything I'm saying as medical advice. This is just me talking about what I've seen and experienced from other travelers and myself. I haven't seen anyone get to the point of total dehydration or anything because of traveler stomach from the water, but I have seen it get pretty severe. To the point where you are looking at dehydration and that kind of stuff. And it's just not good. You don't want to get to that point. Like I said, I personally don't have anyone in my life directly that's had to be hospitalized. I know it happens, but I have seen people get, just pretty sick and under the weather because of it. And you just don't want that. So having some type of water filter is just an added layer of, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this. One, it's going to save me a little bit of money because I don't have to constantly buy water. Two, it's better for the environment. And three, it's going to keep me healthier. And so that is my third favorite thing for health and safety. Number 4, if you didn't know about the water situation in various countries, and you did drink the water or you ate some food that was washed with the water, like some fruits or vegetables or something, and you do get sick, something that is wonderful to have is Pepto-Bismol. And Pepto-Bismol, it actually comes in tablets, and the Pepto-Bismol tablets are amazing. They're great. Not only do they help with the symptoms so that if you do get traveler stomach, you will be able to take care of it and start feeling better, but also a lot of countries, if you go to the pharmacy and you are able to communicate like, hey, I'm having diarrhea or I'm having the stomach issue, they'll give you medicine. But one, you have to really work hard to make sure that it's getting translated correctly. And then 2, a lot of countries with pharmacies like that, they only give you medicine for 1, maybe 2 days. And I don't know about you, but as an American, I am not used to that. I'm not used to having to go to a pharmacy every day to get medicine. I like to just have like my whatever, however many days I have to take it, 7, 10, whatever, and I have it at home and I take it. And so if you have just Pepto-Bismol tablets with you, then you can use those, see if you can get over the traveler stomach. And if it doesn't, then definitely go to a pharmacy or some type of clinic if you need to, if you feel like you're reaching dehydration levels. But Pepto-Bismol tablets I really recommend bringing them with you. Because even if you are in an area and you're like, you know what, I don't know how the food is prepared here, I don't know how my stomach is going to handle it, just chew a couple preemptively, and it really will help you in the digestive process. I recommend them a lot. So that is number 4. Number 5, we're just like busting through these, aren't we? Man, like, wow, we're just going quick. But I mean, I guess health and safety is kind of sort of boring, isn't it? I don't know. All right, number 5. This is not a product, so you will not see a link in the show notes about it, but I think it's important and we do it. And again, if your family doesn't need this, ignore it. Or if you think it's silly, you can ignore it. No big deal. But we always bring extra prescriptions, especially for eyeglasses. And the reason we do that is, I'm not saying that if you have a prescription and you take it to a pharmacy somewhere that they're instantly going to honor it. I'm not saying that. But it can definitely be a help if you need to get started in something. But also with the eyeglasses, we have a 10-year-old son. who has eyeglasses. There's only two in our family that have eyeglasses, my husband and our 10-year-old. So the oldest and the youngest have eyeglasses. And we have a copy of Ryan's eyeglass prescription because that way, because he is a 10-year-old boy, if they get lost or broken or severely scratched, we can hopefully just walk in to an optometrist and say, here's his numbers, here's his prescription. Because of the fact that there's going to be a language barrier, getting like him taking an eye test and them figuring out like, where are your eyes? Like there's just a lot of barriers to that, right? Like imagine going somewhere with your 10-year-old and even just you, and you have to take an eye test in a different language. Like, no, thank you. That seems really stressful and really hard. And the odds of you being able to communicate correctly in what your eyes are doing and it's good or worse or just wherever you are, it seems like it's going to be really hard. So we always have a copy of Ryan's eyeglasses. So that way, if something happens, now nothing has happened yet, but that doesn't mean it's not going to. We can just take it into an optometrist and say, this is his prescription. Can you make him a pair of glasses? And hopefully they can just use that information to make him the correct type of lenses. Now, we haven't done it yet. I know that it can be done. Like I've heard of people doing this, but we haven't done it. So I can't speak into how hard or easy this is, but it definitely gives me peace of mind just having that piece of paper in my drawer, just in case something were to happen to his glasses. He also has a backup pair of glasses. They're his old prescription, so they're a little bit stronger. His eyes actually improved, and so these current ones are a little bit weaker. But worst case scenario, if they break, he can wear his backup pair as we are working with an optometrist to make a new pair. So that is number 5, extra like physically written out prescriptions, including eyeglasses. And so that's it for health and safety. This was a quick one, but I think that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong. I heard someone say about podcasts once, they were saying, how long should a podcast be? And the person said, a podcast needs to be however long that podcast needs to be. And this was a quick one, and I'm okay with that. So what about you? How are you handling staying safe in another country? Are there any safety items that you always have with you that make you feel better? And what about your health? Not so much as far as like what you eat or exercising or that kind of stuff. I think there's I guess you could talk to me about that. Go ahead. I'm not going to, put you in a box, whatever you want. Talk about your health. That was mean of me. I'm so sorry. And so jump over to Instagram, Family of Dashes. The link is in the show notes to our family page over there. And let me know what you're doing for these areas. How are you staying safe? How are you staying healthy? I know that there is a lot of talk on the internet about taking certain items with you to other countries. As far as safety items, we don't carry any safety items to other countries. But I can tell you this is kind of like a bonus. It's not something we take, but as a way to make sure that we stay safe in another country, we make sure that we have a fire extinguisher, not for fires, although that's a good thing. We keep it in Eric and I's bedroom. And that way, if God forbid someone were to break into our house, we can use it as a weapon. We can spray the person with the foam stuff that comes out of it, and then you can always hit them with the heavy base. I know that sounds really mean and maybe kind of graphic, but we keep a fire extinguisher in our master bedroom as a deterrent if worst case scenario happens and we have a break-in. Because these are the things that you have to think about. We also did that in America. So I don't want people to think that, oh my gosh, they have to do this. No, this is what we do. We've done it for years. One of our best friends, we were helping them move, and we were like, why do you have a fire extinguisher underneath your bed? And he was like, oh, because, well, one, fire. Like if there is a fire in the house, I can get to my kids with it. I can hopefully use it to knock down some flames if I have to get to them. But also If there's an intruder in my house, I can use it as a weapon. And we were like, that's really smart. And so we started doing it. So we did it actually in America for years. We've just kept it going in other countries. So please don't think that we feel the need to up our level of security in other countries. We don't. We're just doing what we did in America. So that is it for this episode. I hope that it helped you. I hope it kind of got your brain going about ways to say, stay safe and healthy as you're traveling. And I would love to hear your thoughts. So yeah, send me an email. Just go to the podcast website and shoot me an email, or jump over to Instagram, Family of Dashes, and let me know. Also, all of the show note links, how am I going to say that? The links in the show notes that go to Amazon. I'm not sponsored by any of those guys. I just like the product, or I think it's a good product. And I do get a little bit of a commission if you buy something through my Amazon link. So I really appreciate that. It doesn't cost you anything else. Cost you the same amount. I just get a little bit of a kickback from it. So I appreciate that. If you think any of these products are good for you, go ahead and click on the link and buy it. And I appreciate that. So I hope that you guys are doing well, that you're having fun wherever you are, and that you are continuing to travel joyfully.